Hello everyone, this is Adrian Howard from Weather Rampage, and this is your Severe Weather Awareness 2016, and I will be telling you some things that will be transpiring, that I think will be transpiring this year, and also to give you a little bit of information on severe weather awareness this year. Now, I've been doing a lot of studying and doing a lot of research on severe weather to kind of inform the general public and also others about the threats for severe weather. And this information can be useful for Sky One spotters, and it can be useful for people in the general public. But to begin, for this year 2016, severe thunderstorm facts and National Weather Service process of expected severe thunderstorm potentials. Now, what I have here, what you can see here on the left-hand side, severe thunderstorms, they are thunderstorms with very heavy rain, straight line winds, large hail, frequent lightning, and tornadoes. Severe thunderstorms can and do produce tornadoes. And severe thunderstorm winds are usually in excess of 58 miles per hour, or they produce hailstones with diameters of 1.9 centimeters, larger than 1.9 centimeters, which is about the size of a quarter. Or they generate a tornado. So a severe thunderstorm is a much stronger type of storm that produces all of these features with it as it comes in to a location. I'm sure everyone probably knows that, but yeah, just kind of giving you the basics on the severe thunderstorm and the facts about a severe thunderstorm. Now, understanding severe thunderstorm risk. Now the SPC, or the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, issues outlooks and thunderstorm potentials. And as far as thunderstorm potentials, I don't know if you can see here, but here in this light green shading, this is a regular thunderstorm risk that they will issue on a weather map. Regular thunderstorm risk in light green, which is where no severe storms are expected. And you get the general type thunderstorms, heavy rain, gusty winds, that type of thing, strong storms, that type of thing, maybe some lightning here and there, and flooding, that type of thing. Now, the next category is a step higher up, which is the marginal, which means marginal as far as the marginal risk for severe storms, in which the severe storm risk is there and a marginal risk as they issue this outlook, but it's isolated thunderstorms, isolated severe storms that are the threats. And they're limited in duration and intensity, but actually they're severe, but they're limited in coverage, and they're limited as far as the time that they last, as far as the marginal risk for severe storms. So no widespread risk are with a marginal risk usually. Now, with the slight risk, this is a step up from the marginal risk. Scattered storms are possible in a slight risk area. This is where a little bit more storms are likely that it could be severe more than isolated. And these storms are usually not widespread, but they are a little bit more than the marginal risk. And intense, isolated, severe storms are likely, and they are short-lived, but not as short-lived and limited as the marginal risk. And they're a little bit more robust in this type of risk. Now you go a step higher than that, excuse me, you'll be heading into the enhanced risk for severe storms, which means that now there is a potential that there's going to be a numerous severe storms possible, more persistent storms, more widespread storms, and a few intense storms with a marginal risk. That this is when storms start beginning to produce 70-mile-per-hour winds or more, large damaging hail up to golf ball size or more, and that type of thing, and the possibility of a few tornadoes, and maybe on the low end tornado risk. But the enhanced risk for severe storms, you can have an enhanced risk of severe storms and a low tornado potential, and you can have an enhanced risk of severe storms and a higher tornado potential. So it just all depends on what is going on in the atmosphere, and if there is a storm system that will bring that capability to produce tornadoes or severe weather or both. But a step higher than that would be the moderate risk, widespread severe storms likely. That is when you are really starting to get high up on the scale with severe storms. Now, these storms are going to be very long-lived, widespread, and very intense, very strong winds, 80 miles per hour or more, 70 to 80 miles per hour or more. Large damaging hail sizes get larger, maybe up to tennis ball, baseball, softball size with some of these storms. And these storms will more than likely have the potential to produce more tornadoes. But again, it depends on what the atmosphere is doing. Most likely in this category, tornadoes are likely. So yes, more of a threat there. Now, as you get up into level 5, that is a high risk, which means that severe thunderstorms are highly likely. And what I mean by highly likely, long-lived, very widespread, and particularly intense. Tornado outbreaks occur with this type of high risk that the National Weather Service produces. Actually, when they produce this weather graphic for a high risk, tornadoes, very long track tornadoes, deadly tornadoes, EF5, EF4, EF5 tornado strength type storms are in the high risk category usually. And these storms, no doubt, could be producing softball to grapefruit sized hail, destructive winds in excess of 70, 80, 90 to 100 miles per hour, and some very heavy rainfall, or some very strong winds and some very intense tornadoes. So I just kind of wanted to show you that because a lot of people may not know this, but yes, this is what the National Weather Service does when they issue these outlooks. Now, as far as the severe weather threats, this for any severe weather season, damaging and destructive winds from severe thunderstorms, as I mentioned before, can be 60 to 70 to 80 to 100 miles per hour. And severe thunderstorms usually contain large damaging hail ranging from pea size, which is, yes, pea size is very small, to as large as softballs, which is about 4.5 inches in diameter. Now, this causes a lot of damage to crops and livestock and can cause injuries to people outside. And flooding is another threat, which is one of nature's number one killers in severe weather cases. Homes can be swept away, vehicles can be swept away, a lot of damage can be done. Lightning, which kills more people than tornadoes at times per year, which can be another major threat from severe storms. And tornadoes, of course, which can range from weak to violent tornadoes. And about 1,200 tornadoes per year in the U.S. alone. So just kind of give you some severe weather facts there. Severe weather safety. Now, for severe weather safety during severe thunderstorms, trees can suffer damage, be blown over, power poles can be snapped, roof shingles can be taken off. Any debris from damaging winds can become dangerous inside or outside during a severe thunderstorm. So if you're outside or you're inside, be mindful that depending on how strong these winds can get in severe thunderstorms, if they're 70 to 80 miles per hour, you don't need to be outside in that, because debris can become projectiles. And when it becomes projectiles, injuries can occur and it can be deadly, just like a tornado, but not as bad as a tornado. But for severe weather safety precautions, go to the nearest sturdy building away from doors and windows, as they offer no protection from damaging winds. Stay away from metal fences and avoid standing under trees or out in open, as these are lightning magnets, and as lightning can be a hazard. Standing out in the open can make you a lightning target. Avoid swimming pools. Avoid water, as these can be lightning magnets. If caught in hail, cover your head with your hands and find shelter immediately. I found out that bicycle helmets can offer some of the greatest protection from hailstones during a severe thunderstorm, but you have to have those things available for that to be a protection. Now, as far as more about damaging winds, now microburst is a type of damaging wind. It's very localized downdraft from a thunderstorm. Is basically that cold pool of air that comes rushing out of a severe thunderstorm and hits the ground, and as it hits the ground, it hits out laterally or goes out horizontally on the ground, but in all directions. And it is a straight line wind. You can have a dry, wet, or hybrid microburst, and these are very dangerous to aircraft. And because they can crash aircraft. Now, downburst is kind of similar to a microburst, but it's on a larger scale than a microburst, and can produce a damage path of about 1 to 5 miles. Microburst is actually a downburst, but it's a smaller event than a downburst. Straight line winds are common, with gusts from a thunderstorm originate from downbursts of a thunderstorm. Now, these winds can reach 130 kilometers or 80 miles per hour. Actually, they can reach 120 to 130 miles per hour, because that has been noted in history to reach that high. And thunderstorms can reach that wind speed level. And derechos are a line of intense, widespread, fast-moving windstorms. Sometimes thunderstorms can move across a great distance and is characterized by damaging winds. So basically a very large, intense line of severe thunderstorms that travels long distances that's producing damaging winds the entire way is usually a derecho event where there's a big, large-scale system with those line of storms. And all this can produce damage and a lot of things, injuries to people if they're caught in it. Now, damaging hail sizes, formation, and for formation. Now, hail sizes, as I said before, can go from penny to dime. Actually, it can go from pea to dime to softball size. And as you can see, softball size is the largest size hail ever recorded, which there may be some hail sizes a little larger than that have been recorded. But 4.5 inches, softball size hail, and that can really do some damage and kill and actually cause injuries and even death if you're caught out in it. And as far as hail formation and the growth, thunderstorms with strong sustained updrafts. This is how hail forms. Thunderstorms when they have a very strong updraft, that these particles get suspended up into the air, and all of the water droplets and everything start collecting, and the cycle just goes over and over again until the updraft can no longer support those particles of frozen ice up into the atmosphere, because once they reach a certain level, they freeze and refreeze as they go up and down inside the storm. So this is how hail forms, and when that wind can no longer support that hail, depending on how strong that wind is, that hail is going to be that size. So if you're getting a softball size hail, the updrafts can be over 100 miles per hour or more. But if you're getting dime or penny size hail, that updraft is a little bit less than 100 miles per hour, maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour, something like that. So just kind of wanted to show you how that does. Now, tornado facts. Now, tornado is a violent rotating column of air extending from a thunderstorm to the ground. Most violent tornadoes are capable of huge destruction with wind speeds. The most violent tornadoes are capable of huge destruction with wind speeds of up to 300 miles per hour. And of course, we know what a tornado can do. It can level houses. It can level everything in its path. And the United States, as I said before, receives an average of 1,200 tornadoes a year. The Fujita scale, the enhanced Fujita scale, is what they use now to rate tornadoes from EF1 to EF5. EF5 being the strongest with winds over 200 miles per hour. EF0 being the lowest with winds of 65 to 85 miles per hour. So just some tornado facts. Strongest tornado ever recorded would produce wind speeds of 318 miles per hour. May 1999 near Bridge Creek, Oklahoma. Now, we all know about that tornado and more that hit. That tornado ranks as the top as having the highest wind speeds ever on the face of this planet. So, yes, tornadoes can do their damage. Tornado and some tornado threats. Flying debris can be dangerous and deadly to people caught outside. Mobile homes are very dangerous to be during a tornado. Can be damaged or destroyed. Vehicles destroyed or damaged. But the thing about a vehicle is if you're in the worst case scenario, at least if you have your seatbelts on in a vehicle, you can possibly be saved or protected. Now, they did some studying on this to see, that this could be still kind of a safe place, but it's still dangerous, very dangerous. If you're caught outside, this is one of the most dangerous places to be during a tornado. The only thing you can do is like get in a low-lying area if you can't get into a shelter and cover your head. And loss of life from major tornadoes is certain if you don't have a shelter or a way to protect yourself. So just be mindful that it's the real weather season. Tornado safety during a tornado: trees can be snapped, trees can be completely debarked, vehicles can be totally damaged or destroyed, homes and buildings can be completely leveled. And now, of course, you know that. And go to an underground shelter basement or safe room away from windows. Not having an underground shelter basement or safe room, go to an interior room or hallway on the lowest level of a building that is sturdy. Being caught outdoors, and seek shelter or basement or sturdy building by walking quickly. Get out of mobile homes immediately, as they offer no protection from a tornado. Okay, El Nino remains. What I'm showing you here is the sea surface temperatures, and what I'm showing here with this circle, I have the Pacific circled here, the Pacific Ocean circled here near South America. to show you the sea surface temperatures, water temperatures have not decreased that much, but they are expected to decrease by the summer. What that means is there could be another potential year to have a little more tornadoes for Oklahoma, number one, that I'm thinking. And that could spell some trouble for Oklahoma and areas of the Southern Plains states. But we'll just kind of see what happens. As far as the average number of annual Oklahoma tornadoes and what I expect this year, the average number of tornadoes usually in Oklahoma is around 60 tornadoes per year. I'm expecting about 75 to 80 tornadoes this year. Most of them will be in April and May, which are the peak seasons. And I say this because El Nino seems to be in place like last year. So we just kind of see what happens with that, with the tornado threat and tornado potential this year for Oklahoma. Now, as far as the flash flooding, fast and safety, flash flooding, safety, know the county in which you live and have a NOAA weather radio to warn you for approaching storms and also for flooding, and also watch for signs for approaching storms. Watch everything, watch the skies, watch everything. And well, actually, you can't tell from the skies actually if there's going to be flooding, but make sure that you monitor the weather situation. Now, as far as water, did you know that water weighs 62.4 pounds per cubic foot, which is very heavy? It's heavier than you think it is. A foot of water can sweep you away. So get to higher ground. Go to areas get out of areas that are subject to flooding. Low spots, dips, canyons. Avoid areas that are flooded. Avoid roadways that are flooded. Don't go into washed out roadways or areas that look washed out, or if you can't judge the distance of the water or the depth of the water, actually not the distance, but the depth of the water, do not try to drive your car through that. A lot of cars have stalled because of flood waters. So this is some of the safety facts or safety things you can do as far as flooding. Homeowners insurance policies, make sure that that is covered, that your home is covered. It may not be covered under flood policy, under a flooding. It may not be covered. So just make sure that you have a plan in place in case your home gets flooded. Flooding can occur in all 50 states and can occur at any time. So just kind of want you to know, even though flooding is one of nature's number one killers, and it's good to know what to do in flooding. Now, as far as 2012, as you can see, the flood fatalities, activity of victims here by the National Weather Service, driving seemed to be the main cause of death as far as flooding, because people tried to drive in roadways or because their vehicles were swept off the roadway. So just be mindful of that with flooding. Make sure that you don't cross the road. That famous saying, "Turn around, don't drown," is a good saying for flooding. And as far as severe weather watches and warnings, I wanted to kind of show you this so that people will know even more about what a watch and a warning is when the National Weather Service issues this, actually when SPC or the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma issues a watch or warning for a location. Now, a tornado watch means that conditions are favorable for tornadoes to develop. For severe thunderstorm, atmospheric conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms producing hail at least 1 inch in diameter or 58-mile-per-hour wind or greater speeds. That is for a severe thunderstorm watch. For a tornado watch, atmospheric conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes. Now, for warnings, a severe thunderstorm has developed capable of producing hail greater than 1 inch in diameter and winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. For a tornado warning, a severe thunderstorm has developed and has either produced a tornado or radar has indicated intense low-level rotation in the presence of atmospheric conditions conducive of tornado development. So just kind of wanted to let you know, if you get a NOAA weather radio and you get watches or warnings, this is what it means for your area or location. And if you see news media outlet, they're going to kind of tell you the same thing when you go there. Now, I have this graphic here on the side because I kind of explained this earlier about understanding severe thunderstorm risk, and I told you about how the Storm Prediction Center issues out these maps that kind of go from regular thunderstorm to high risk for severe storms. And severe storm risk in between goes from thunderstorm risk to marginal to slight to enhanced to moderate to high risk. And depending on those thunderstorm risk will depend on whether there will be tornadoes or no tornadoes and just thunderstorms, or whether there'll be severe storms with a lot of damaging winds and tornadoes, or just regular thunderstorms with lightning. So just kind of wanted to kind of show everybody this severe weather season and kind of give everybody a severe weather awareness for severe storms more than I did last year, or actually the year before last, to kind of let people know about what this severe weather season, what I want to kind of show everybody this severe weather season. Now, this can apply to all severe weather seasons, so just make sure that you stay tuned, make sure that you stay weather aware and ready and be prepared just in case tornadoes or severe weather threatens your area this year. I will keep you updated on Facebook and other sources to kind of let you know what's going on this year. And I will give you more details to come. This is your Severe Weather Awareness 2016 from Weather Rampage. This is Adrian Howard. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.